Hey guys, this is Mr. H. Hey, um, I'm going to do some questions using the quadratic formula. And one of the things that I want you guys to understand is you should be looking at the b squared minus 4ac part, which is called the determinant. And that's going to determine whether it's going to be rational or irrational. Also, if it's irrational, you're going to probably have to simplify it. And so in this case, Menu 23 is going to be useful in determining whether it's rational or irrational. And if it's irrational, it'll also help you determine how to simplify it. So if you have not watched the videos on how to simplify radicals or how to determine if something is a perfect square, rational, irrational, you should watch those first and then come back to this. So let's just jump in. Now, this is just going to be a mix of questions. I'm not sure if they're going to be rational or irrational. So I'm going to go through how I want you guys to do it. So let me jump in here. Let's see. The first question we have here, it says solve, and they want real solution, no imaginary, and they want this to be in simplest form. So very first thing, we're using the quadratic formula, which means that in order to use a quadratic formula, this equation, quadratic equation, has to be equal to zero. And right now it's not. So here's what I'm going to do. I got to get rid of this 2, move it to the other side. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to subtract 2, and I'm going to subtract 2 from the constant over here. So my new equation is going to be 5n squared minus 7n. 3 minus 2 is going to be plus 1 equals 0. So from here, now we can take the a is 5, the b is a negative 7, and the c is 1. Now, I'm going to take these numbers and I'm going to check. I'm going to look at the determinant, the b squared minus 4ac. I'm going to see if it's a perfect square. If it's not a perfect square, I'm going to have to simplify it. All right, let's go. So I need my calculator now. So I'm just going to go here. Let me get rid of all of this stuff. Menu 15. Now I like to store numbers because I think it's cleaner. So I'm going to take 5 and I'm going to store that into the letter A. I'm going to take a negative 7. I'm going to store that into the letter B. And then I'm going to take 1 and I'm going to store that into the letter C. Now, once I get this, now I'm going to do this in 2 steps, but you can do this all in 1 step. I'm going to do B squared minus 4a. And I got to put a multiplication between the a and the c, otherwise the calculator gets confused. All right, so look, I'm looking at this number and I want to know, is this a perfect square? Because if it is, then I can just type in the quadratic formula and it's going to give me the 2 solutions. Also, by the way, the b squared minus 4ac, it's really a good practice to start looking at that first because it'll tell you if it's going to have 1 root, 2 roots, if they're going to be rational or irrational. All of that is determined by the b squared minus 4ac part. Now, all I'm going to do is menu 23 on this number. Now, I know that this is not a perfect square. So this is a prime number, in fact. So that means basically we can't, this has rational or irrational roots. But they don't want us um, to calculate this as decimal because they didn't tell us how to round it. So all we're going to do is we're just going to leave this as the square root of 29. We can't simplify this. So if I go back to my iPad, right, here's what my solution is going to be. It's going to be n equals, it's going to be a negative 7 plus or minus. This is just going to be 29 because that's what the b squared minus 4ac part is. And then on the bottom is going to be 2 times 5, which is 10. Now, just to simplify this, clean it up a little bit, this is going to be 7 plus or minus the square root of 29 over 10. Can't do anything else with it. That's going to be our answer. So let's go back. Um, Actually, I need to delete this. And then I'm just going to type that in. It's going to be 7 plus or minus the square root of 29. And then on the bottom, we had 10. And then we submit it, and it says, nice job. All right, let's do another one. All right, so this one, again, we have to make sure this is the quadratic equation is equal to 0. Right now, it's not, so I got to make sure to do that. I'm going to do the opposite, so I'm adding 4, add 4 here. So this is going to be 15x squared minus 29x plus 12. The A is 15, the B is a negative 29, and the C is 12. So all I'm going to do from here is grab the calculator. I'm going to store those numbers. So 15 goes into A, negative 29. I'm going to store that into B, and then 12, I'm going to store that into C. And then I'm just going to go up here and I'm just going to copy b squared minus 4ac. I got 121. Now, if you're not sure, we can do menu 23 on that number. But what you should see is that, or what you will see is that it's a perfect square. Now, if it's a perfect square, all we have to do is just type in the quadratic formula. So that's what I'm going to do. It is a perfect square, so I'm just going to do a negative b. This is just the formula. You're going to be given this. And then we're going to do square root. Let me go up here and copy this b squared minus 4ac part. And then down here, I'm just going to go 2 times a. Boom. So that's one of our solutions. Now, to find the other solution, I'm just going to copy the quadratic formula, and then I'm going to change the plus to a minus. And those are our two solutions, 4/3 and 3/5. So if I go here, I can delete this, and that's going to be my two answers. 4/3, 4/3, and then 3/5. Oops, 3/5. Submit it. Boom, done. All right, let's do one more. Okay, so again, we've got a quadratic equation. Now this one is already equal to 0, so all I have to do is take the a, the b, and the c. So the a is 2, the b is 11, the c is 12. Now I'm going to grab my calculator. I'm going to restore those numbers. So a is 2, so 2 we store into the letter a. 11 we store into the number b, or letter b. And then 12 we store into the letter c. And let's see what we got. So now, again, I'm going to look at the determinant. That's the most important thing. That's going to tell me if it's rational, irrational, if it can be simplified. This is another perfect square. And if you're not sure, just do menu 23, and just take this number. And you can see it's the exponent is a even number, so we know it's a perfect square. So now all I have to do is, I know I'm going to have two rational roots, so I'm going to start with this one, press enter, and it's going to be a -3/2. So let me write that down, -3/2. And then all I have to do is go change it to a minus. I'm just going up here and copying it. All right. And that's the other one, a -4. So I can go back to my iPad. I can delete this, and I can go ahead and enter those two answers. So it's going to be a -3/2. Okay. And then the other solution is just a -4. And then I submit it. And it says, nice job. All right, guys, so basically all you have to do is, once you get the quadratic equation set to 0, find the a, b, and c, and then look at the determinant, the b squared minus 4ac part. That's going to tell you everything. It's going to tell you whether you're going to have rational roots. It's going to tell you if they're irrational. And if they are irrational, menu 23 will help you simplify the radical if it can be simplified. So that's the importance of menu 23. Because once you look at the b squared minus 4ac part, you should be able to determine, is this a perfect square? Because if it is, you just use the formula and you're going to get the rational roots. If it's not a perfect square, you can use menu 23 to help you simplify the radical if it can be simplified. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to stop and I'm going to post.